Before a woman cheats, long before the betrayal, she begins to disappear. Not from your bed, but from the connection you once shared. Tiny signs, subtle shifts, a silence that grows between every word. Most men don't notice, not because they're blind, but because they believe. They believe in loyalty. They believe in the bond they built. They believe in the illusion that love alone keeps someone faithful. But here's the truth. Before her body strays, her heart leaves first. And that's where most men never look. Welcome to Stoic Reflections, where we cut through illusion, expose emotional reality, and bring clarity through Stoic wisdom. Because a Stoic man doesn't chase, beg, or break. He observes, he understands, and he turns betrayal into strength. So stay alert. What you're about to learn isn't just a list of red flags. It's a psychological map of withdrawal, guilt, and projection. And if you think, my woman would never do that, you might want to buckle up, because sometimes the one you trust most is already halfway gone. 1. Emotional distance creeps in. In Stoicism, detachment is strength, but in love, detachment can be a warning. When a woman begins to cheat, she doesn't vanish overnight. She fades slowly, like a candle burning out in the corner of a room you stopped noticing. Her words grow shorter, her laughter becomes rare. The warmth that once wrapped around your conversations starts to cool. You'll feel it, not as a fight, not as rejection, but as distance. A subtle coldness that hides behind routine gestures. She still says, I love you, but the tone changes. The affection sounds practiced, like a line from a script she no longer believes in. You'll sense it in her eyes. They no longer light up when they meet yours. They glance through you, not at you. This isn't random. It's a psychological defense. Before her body betrays you, her emotions must justify it. To ease her guilt, she starts detaching, convincing herself that you've already grown apart, that she's not betraying love, only escaping emptiness. From a Stoic lens, this is where many men fail. They react, they chase, they beg for connection, trying to fix something already slipping away. But a Stoic man does not cling to fading affection. He observes. He acknowledges the change. Because love built on illusion cannot survive honesty. And when her warmth turns to silence, your awareness, not your emotion, becomes your protection. 2. Her schedule becomes a maze. Time exposes what words try to hide. When a woman begins to stray, her schedule becomes the first mask she wears. Suddenly her days are packed. There are new plans, new friends, new routines, late meetings that never existed, girls' nights that stretch into midnight, errands that somehow take hours. You'll notice it, the shift from transparency to mystery. Once she used to tell you everything, now her answers shrink. It was fine, nothing special, just tired. The stories stay vague while the patterns change. Psychologically, this isn't just deceit, it's strategy. People rarely lie directly when they cheat, they simply edit time. They rearrange hours and fill the silence with half-truths. My phone died. I lost track of time. I needed some space. These aren't confessions, they're camouflage. And here's where many men fail. They interrogate instead of observe. They demand clarity from someone already living in shadows. A Stoic man doesn't chase explanations, he studies patterns. As Epictetus said, appearances are impressions, not facts, but they often point toward truth. Watch her consistency, not her words. If she suddenly has endless errands but no receipts, if she's out of reach but always online, if her time starts slipping through your hands like sand, you already have your answer. Remember, the truth doesn't hide in her excuses. It hides in her timing. 3. Sudden privacy and phone secrets. Once upon a time, her phone was just a phone. Now, it's a fortress. It never leaves her side. It's always face down, always on silent. She types fast, smiles faintly, and when you walk in, the screen goes black. You don't need to be paranoid to notice the shift. You just need to be present. Because secrecy, in female psychology, rarely appears without cause. It's not about the device, it's about displacement. When a woman begins to emotionally invest elsewhere, she guards that connection like treasure. It may start innocent, friendly messages, harmless emojis, late night, just chatting. But what begins as validation becomes addiction, and soon, her digital world becomes more real than the one beside her. If you try to ask, she'll say you're overreacting. If you glance at her phone, she'll act like you've invaded sacred ground. That reaction alone tells you more than her words ever could. But here's where Stoic awareness matters most. A reactive man loses clarity. A calm man gains power. Don't chase what she hides. Observe what she protects. People guard what they value. Epictetus taught that our peace is destroyed, not by events, but by our interpretation of them. So interpret wisely. If her device becomes her shield, it's not you she's protecting. It's the lie she's nurturing. Stay calm, stay observant. Because when secrecy replaces openness, truth is no longer far behind. It's already there, waiting to be seen. 4. Gaslighting and psychological reversal. When truth gets too close, lies evolve. A cheating woman rarely confesses, she confuses. Gaslighting becomes her shield, and distortion her weapon. Suddenly, every conversation feels upside down. You question her late replies, and somehow you end up apologizing. You bring up what you saw, and she accuses you of being paranoid. The guilt you should see in her eyes gets replaced by indignation. How dare you not trust her? This isn't love. It's psychological warfare. Gaslighting is the art of making you doubt your own intuition. It's her way of rewriting the story so she doesn't have to face the truth. She'll project her guilt onto you, accusing you of distance, of neglect, of being controlling, anything to flip the script. And the more you argue, the deeper you sink. Because gaslighting doesn't need proof. It feeds on confusion. Each time you defend yourself, you confirm her narrative. From a psychological perspective, this is projection in motion. The guilty mind transferring its burden onto the innocent one. And from a Stoic lens, this is where discipline of perception becomes your armor. Marcus Aurelius said, "If anyone can refute me, show me I'm mistaken. I'll gladly change, for I seek the truth. But if they twist truth into fog, walk away from the smoke." A Stoic man doesn't wrestle with manipulation, he steps out of its reach. When her reality no longer aligns with facts, don't debate, detach. Because once you start explaining yourself to deception, you've already lost clarity. 5. Unusual kindness and over-affection. After weeks of distance and coldness, something strange happens. She becomes warm again. Too warm. Suddenly she's affectionate, attentive, even romantic. She brings your favorite meal home. She compliments you more. She wants to reconnect. But deep down, it doesn't feel real. It feels rehearsed. You'll sense that something is off. The timing, the tone, the sudden burst of love. It doesn't come from guilt-free affection. It comes from emotional compensation. Psychology calls this cognitive dissonance. When someone's actions and morals don't align, the mind creates balance through overcompensation. So she starts giving more to silence the guilt inside her. Each kind gesture is a quiet apology she'll never say out loud. The gifts, the smiles, the "I miss you" texts. They're not expressions of love. They're bandages for a wounded conscience. You may feel flattered. You may even think things are finally getting better. But remember, genuine affection builds gradually. False affection explodes suddenly, then fades fast. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The closer a man is to the truth, the clearer he must see through the fog of pleasure." Don't mistake the sweetness of guilt for the return of love. A Stoic man doesn't get lost in temporary comfort. He sees the motive behind the gesture, because not every touch comes from love. Some come from the fear of losing one's own self-image. When she starts loving harder after pulling away, don't celebrate. Observe, because affection without peace is often guilt in disguise. 6. She ends it first, or forces you to. When guilt becomes unbearable, she doesn't confess. She escapes. But she can't just walk away. That would make her the villain. So instead, she creates chaos until you're the one who leaves. Suddenly she's unhappy with everything. The way you talk, the way you breathe. Every small issue becomes a war. She starts rewriting history, claiming she's been miserable for months. You'll hear lines like, "You've changed," or "We're just not compatible anymore." But the truth is, she's already chosen her next chapter. She's just waiting for you to close this one. This is emotional inversion. Psychologically, she needs to justify her betrayal by painting you as the problem. If she convinces herself you're toxic, unloving, or distant, she can walk away guilt-free. It's not betrayal anymore, it's self-liberation. And here's where the Stoic discipline must rise above emotion. Don't beg, don't bargain, don't fall into her performance of victimhood. Marcus Aurelius said, "When someone does wrong, the harm is to themselves." Let that truth ground you. Her actions don't define your worth, they reveal her weakness. If she ends it, let her. If she forces you to, thank her for showing you what was already gone. Because a woman who truly loved you wouldn't destroy peace to justify departure. A Stoic man doesn't cling to endings, he faces them with calm. He knows that sometimes silence says what pain cannot. When she leaves, don't chase her shadow, stand still in your truth. Because the man who remains composed in loss is the man she'll never truly replace. You see, most men think betrayal begins in the moment of action, but it starts long before that. It begins in silence, in distance, in the small ways a woman stops choosing you. But this isn't a lesson in bitterness, it's a reminder of awareness. Because the Stoic man doesn't live in paranoia, he lives in clarity. He doesn't try to control loyalty, he observes truth as it unfolds. If she's fading, you don't chase the shadow, you strengthen the light within yourself. That's what Stoicism teaches. You can't stop storms from coming, but you can learn to stand still in the rain. So when love turns uncertain, don't ask, "Why is she changing?" Ask instead, "What can I learn from this?" Because every heartbreak has a message, and every loss has the potential to build a deeper strength. Remember what Marcus Aurelius said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Realize this, and you will find strength. Don't let betrayal harden your heart. Let it refine your presence. Don't seek revenge, seek understanding. And never let the actions of another person decide your peace. If this message opened your eyes, even a little, share it with a brother who might be walking blind. Because sometimes, awareness doesn't just save relationships, it saves men from losing themselves. Stay grounded, stay aware, stay stoic.